The Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
meetings called at 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Mr. Burwinkel,
Yes.
Mr. Hedden, Ms. Parks, Mr. Rowland,
Attending?
Mr. Stanford,
No vote. We do not have quorum. Okay.
Here's what we do.
Okay. Mr. Weber, Mr. Watson, and Ms. Wilson.
Here.
Mr.
Here. All right, everybody should have had the agenda emailed to them prior to the meeting. I will entertain a motion to accept the agenda.
I'll make it a motion.
A motion by Commissioner Stanford. Do we have a second?
Yes.
Second by Commissioner Rowland. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, we're down to public comment. So do any of our visitors have anything they'd like to say? You have anything you'd like to say? Just checking.
Mr. Brown, did you have any comments?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. I forgot about you over there. Everybody's sitting in front of you. Do you have anything you'd like to say, or are you just here to observe? All right, well, welcome to our meeting. Everyone had the minutes of our prior meeting emailed to them prior to this meeting. Last meeting was on February the 12th. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes. Make a proposal that we approve the minutes with any necessary correction.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, we're under old business.
Madam President, for transportation van acquisition, so an update, our 22-foot van, fully wrapped, able to accommodate up to 3 wheelchairs, is in our possession. Temporary tags have been also sent to us. We'll have permanent tags in about 30 days. We had a series of interviews with potential candidates. Offer was even extended to one of them, although the candidate then later did not accept the offer. So we have an interview this afternoon with a potential driver. We also have, over the weekend, got 30 additional applications for the position of driver. So we're hopeful that we'll be able to fill that position here relatively quickly in time for us to get our permanent tags and this van ready to go. In addition to that, though, I do want to present to the board, as you've all received a copy of the van proposal for 2 additional vans, not to be acquired in this quarter, likely to be in Q3 or Q4, but I do want to present to the board for vote today so that we can begin that process after we have this first van up and running. You see there in your packet a 14-passenger van without wheelchair accessibility. It's going to be able to house just a lot more veterans at one time. That total cost for that would be just north of $104,000. If you include the wrap, the last the vehicle that we had wrapped is $6,500. That's also included in the quote, including the surveillance camera, just like the van that we just acquired. So asking for a vote of approval of $104,151 for this 2024 Ford Transit within this calendar year. The second is a Braun Mobility. You all were able to see this van. Well, not all of you. At least 5 of you were able to see it. when it was presented down here along with that 22-foot van, at the end of last year, it will be able to accommodate, it's just more mobile. Be able to accommodate up to, one wheelchair and then 3 additional passengers. The thought process here is that this van would be able to, be a lot more, mobile than the 22-foot van, in the event that we do need support, for our, now growing fleet. So that Braun Mobility vehicle is $85,357. Again, we'd be acquiring this later this year in Q3 or Q4, depending on when we can get our first van up and running. So asking for vote approval of those 2, and that would complete our projection for 3 vans this year.
Does anybody have any questions about the vans?
So we're approving purchase of both of these to, in what order? The 14 passenger first and then the vulnerability behind it?
You do it either way, or I think also appropriate is just one vote for both vans.
Yeah, I agree. I understand that. What about timing on delivery?
Oh, yeah, so, our transportation manager, James, I think would, he'd make a determination on which van to
Correct.
acquire.
I mean, personally, I believe the 14 passenger van would be more utilized with our office. We already have the handicap accessible van in our possession, which we can, has the lift, fits 3 wheelchairs. The 14 passenger van, that's, the driver plus 14 passengers. We could use that for possible outreach if needed. We're going to need transportation down at the Veterans Day event, so we can use it down there. It's just going to be more versatile for the office, in my opinion. So I think if we were going to do an order, I think the 14 passenger would be number 1, and then the 20 man number 2. So that's, just in my opinion.
Great, thank you.
So.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In terms of the vendor, do we have any criteria? Like, for instance, I would like to, when it comes to vendors, if we can choose veterans, or if we can choose minority vendors, along those lines. And it's certainly local.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for that. So American Bus was selected because it's a capital asset. We had to go through statewide bid. And so for American Bus, that was already entered into the bidding process for Q4 of 2024, which allowed us to acquire the 22-foot van that we have currently. We could look at, it was our understanding that because we already went, the bidding period doesn't operate on a calendar year. It operates, I think, fiscally. So we're still within that fiscal year to allow us to actually go ahead and move forward with American Bus. But we could look into trying to see if we can get additional quotes.
Just going forward.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, we'll do that. I'll look into the other.
Oh, thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to purchase both the 14 passenger and the minivan.
I'll make said motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Commissioner Stanford, by vote. Second by Commissioner Rowland. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Okay. Commissioner Burleyville.
Yes.
You have to abstain.
Yes, thank you.
You have to abstain.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Commissioner Henton,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. Okay. And now we're on to the Old Business Veterans Cemetery and Memorial Support Program.
Yes, Madam President. Before that, I just do want to take a recommendation for procedural matter. since Commissioner Parks is now present, I'd like the record reflected. If the chair is inclined, that she be marked present for this meeting. I understand the difficulties with moving this board meeting across the hall, and this is the first meeting that she's been present here, so I would want the record to be reflected she's present.
Wait, look, I couldn't find it.
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, Veteran Cemetery Memorial Support Program. So you all have a copy of a draft memorandum of understanding that our office has created here. Again, this is just a draft. This is per the 30-day assessment period that Commissioner.
Hey, is this the one going to do something?
You can, either one, I can do it.
Madam President, I'd like the record to also reflect that Commissioner Watson is also present for this meeting today. Thank you, sir. Okay, so for this Veteran Memorial and Cemetery Support Program. So 30 days ago, I presented to this board the possibility of us adopting a veteran and cemetery support program like our sister county, Montgomery County. The board has asked for a draft of what a memorandum of understanding could look like between the VSC and the Board of County Commissioners. Here is said draft motion. I've had a series of meetings with county leadership. The most recent one was yesterday with the budget director and the assistant budget director and also our budget analyst. Here is where really there are open questions, and it's really, the ball is in our court as the VSC on whether we are inclined to move forward with this partnership. So what it would look like is that for those that just need a refresher, 5901 of the Ohio Revised Code in at least 3 relevant sections gives the mandate that cemeteries that are exclusively designated for veteran memorials, monuments, and also grave sites are the responsibility of the Board of County Commissioners to maintain. However, at least in Montgomery County, they've reached an agreement with their Board of County Commissioners that that duty and responsibility is delegated to the Veteran Service Commission. It would be appropriate, given our mission to support all of the veterans that are currently alive in the county, will be appropriate to extend that. We also support the veterans that have given their lives and are now deceased. So that agreement, it's my recommendation to the board that if we were to take it on, it would be condensed in writing. In Montgomery County, they don't have a memorandum of understanding. But I think if we're going to take this on, we would put in writing. And it would do, what it would do is to lay out clearly the responsibilities of the VSC and the Board of County Commissioners. For the VSC, it would be providing for the proper care and maintenance of all veteran graves, monuments, and memorials located in the county. Also, among that, manage the funds allocated annually to the VSC for the purpose of this cemetery maintenance. In exchange, the Board of County Commissioners would provide the VSC with all necessary information and support regarding these veteran cemeteries and monuments. Chief, how are you? And then also allocate the annual funds that are necessary for this maintenance, separate from the VSC's budget. Okay? And that allocation of funds would not be in any way invoking or triggering the provision of 5901 that would then in turn grant the Board of County Commissioners the opportunity to appoint additional commissioners onto our board. At least the budget directors are fine with this memorandum of understanding. The next step would be is if our board actually wants to proceed with this, then they would present that to the Board of County Commissioners for a vote. The open questions are twofold. Number one is what is the scope? What would this actually look like for the VSC? Because right now, there is no current process from county government for a cemetery to ask for support. The answer to that is, at least initially, because of the very broad writing of the statute, the VSC would be able to create its own policies and procedures. We would be able to narrow the scope of this initiative. We could potentially ask that the cemetery first and foremost show their due diligence in asking the municipality where they're located, the township where they're located, because that's actually outlaid in 5901 already, before they come to the county. The second is that there would be a budgetary limit every year. We could, in partnership with a budget office, designate a certain limit every year to veteran monument and cemetery support. If we are about to exceed that, then we tell the cemetery, please come to us for support next year. But we'd be able to create those parameters, okay? But then also, second consideration is how proactively does the Veteran Service Commission wish to advertise this service? Again, that would be on us. Whether we would hire a full-time employee whose sole task is to support this mission and oversee it, and then go out to these veteran cemeteries. All of that would be in our court. But again, the question is whether we want to proceed with it. So, Madam President, any of your questions?
Does anybody have any questions? Any thoughts?
So do we have any solely veteran cemeteries in Cincinnati?
Yes, there's certainly there's 180 cemeteries in Hamilton County. There are a number of cemeteries that have designated veteran plots. Okay, so that would be within the scope. But then another open question is, what about the cemeteries that are currently not being maintained? Whose responsibility is it to maintain at least the veteran sites that are there? I know of one. It's actually a cemetery that Commissioner Watson and I walked the grounds for. He has experience maintaining that cemetery himself. It's right across from Lunken Airport. There's Revolutionary War and Civil War veterans that are buried there. And that's not being maintained by any one entity right now. Whose responsibility is that currently? Whose responsibility would that be if we take this on? So even though they're not designated veteran plots within that cemetery, there certainly are a number of veterans there that their grave sites would need to be maintained.
Okay, but we do not have, I mean, other than small plots, we do not have a cemetery solely dedicated
Correct.
to veterans.
Correct. The nearest one would be the Dayton National Cemetery. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Here, I believe here's a cogent example that was brought to my attention actually this morning by Commissioner Burwinkle. I actually have a meeting today with Colonel Todd Mayer, who sits on the board of the Hillcrest Coalition to maintain Hillcrest Cemetery in Anderson Township. Hillcrest Cemetery has, I believe, 1,700 African-American veterans buried there. And in 1970, the cemetery was abandoned. In the 1980s, the coalition was formed to maintain Hillcrest Cemetery. Hillcrest Cemetery sits half in, or a large portion of it, in Anderson Township. 4 acres sits in the city of Cincinnati. Anderson Township is maintaining the portion in Anderson Township. But according to Colonel Mayer, Anderson Township has asked the city either to deed the 4 acres to Anderson Township so they can use township dollars for the maintenance of those cemeteries, or to at least allocate funds from the city to maintain those 4 acres. According to this coalition, the city has come back to them silent, and so that the maintenance of that cemetery, the 4 acres in the city, are in his words disarray. So, not disparaging the city, because again, we don't know what conversations they've had. But if there's a cemetery like that, does then the VSC, if we were to take it on, is it then our responsibility for maintaining those veteran cemeteries there? So that's an example of potentially veteran sites that are not being maintained, and if we were to take it on.
How flexible would the city be if we decided that we found a worthy site or a worthy cemetery plot? Would they be in for us asking for additional funds once we cap time?
That would be a conversation with each municipality commissioner. So it'd be certainly there needs to be a direct communication with municipality leadership, city leadership on, first and foremost, they need to, if they have not been, they need to be supporting these veteran grave sites in their jurisdiction. Then if not, we then, based on our policies, look to the cemetery and say, you know, how else are you asking for support? Are you a 501c3 like this coalition? They're raising at least $11,000 annually for summer landscaping. Do we then ask them for due diligence on if they're raising outside funds before we put in our funding for it? So it's all an open question.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the county would be open to us possibly getting additional funds if we reached our limit that we've set for the year.
Oh, I understand your question. So your question is that if there's a certain dollar amount that the county has designated for the support of this veteran cemetery
Right.
program and we exceed that,
Or
this then
we reach it.
we reach it, will
And
the
then a
county?
project comes along that we want to undertake.
So I think that could be twofold. Number one is that the board can decide to take this on from its budget. Or two is just let the cemetery know that maybe we can't support all of the 3 phases this year, but we can support phase 1 this year and then work long term. That's how Montgomery County does it. They do project work based on phases depending on their budgetary threshold every year.
Does anybody else have any questions or comments?
I would like to see, us, really, table this and get some more information, like Cleveland, a bigger county, you know, and I thought this is a lot of money. It would be forced, and, you know, we need to look at other things that we are focusing on right now, budgetary, you
Doesn't come out
know.
of our budget, doesn't come out of our budget. In the memorandum, it says specifically it comes from the county fund. Because it's their responsibility, so they put the bill. So it wouldn't come out of our VSC pot.
That's how the budget director is related to me. Yeah.
At one time, with Union Baptist, the county gave them 400,000, 200,000 came from us. If I'm not, I think, have Orlando speak on that.
That is true. So,
No, that's not true. The county only asked us to give them 10,000, and that's all they got.
so,
Right.
no, what is correct, all due respect, Commissioner, is that I've confirmed, Union Baptist Cemetery pre-COVID asked for support from county leadership, and, they received 400,000. 200,000 came from federal grant, 200,000 came from the VSC's budget.
And the 10 came, because I asked for the 10.
Mhm.
And PSC grant, it was with Senator Sherry Brown.
Yeah.
Who brought the federal dollars.
Yes.
So all I asked for was 10, and that's all we got. So there was more money. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, let's be clear, is that, if this is not our designated responsibility officially, well, then it shouldn't come out of VSC's funds. If it is our designated responsibility, then the agreement would be, it's still not come out of our, VSC's budget, because we are taking this on as an additional duty and responsibility from the county commissioners.
I have a question. Did the county indicate how much money we would have to work?
No, because, what they're also cognizant of is, for example, 2026, you know, that budget is set to be finalized September, balanced, and this would really be a new expenditure that was not at least a factor up until this point. So still an open question, how much the county could actually support year to year.
Well, I mean, I think that would be very, very important for us to know, where we could decide how big of a scope that we're gonna be able to do is how much money are we working? You know, are they gonna allocate? I don't know, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. I mean, you have to know what you're working with in order to determine, what we're able to do. Or do we just say, okay, I mean, you still have to have a figure, but, if we have 50,000 or 100,000, once we came to that limit, we would have to wait until the following year to be able to do any more. And how do we determine what we're going to do?
Right.
But that money should also cover the wage of the person that we hired for this, because that position would be created solely to operate this program. So at minimum, it would have to be whatever that wage dollar amount plus whatever we plan to expend for the
I'm saying
year.
we have to know what we're
Yeah,
working.
so, but at minimum, like, if they wanna get 50,000, that's not gonna work, because I don't think we can hire somebody with the background we need for this at $50,000.
So I think what we do is, we can table this
I mean-
for when the budget. We could table this, Madam President, for when, the budget is actually, being created this summer. And then, have a further conversation with the budget office on what the amount is looking like, at least for the first year. Certainly can't take this on, this year. We didn't budget for it, 2025, out of our budget.
I really do think we need to know what amount of money that the county's gonna give us to work this program before we can even talk intelligently about it.
Fair?
Madam President, I agree. I think that, part of the process, that Stephen mentioned about the person managing, I think we should move in a different direction, and that is to put together what the scope of this is and what the cost is, and go to the county and say, okay, there's 180 cemeteries, and based on our analysis, we believe that long term, this is the cost we're looking at to maintain what we're
These
asking
different phones
for.
going off like that, please silence it.
And then take it and say, okay, we know that on an annual basis, this is how much we can manage. And then this is the amount of dollars we're asking for, versus saying, well, how much you got? We already know how much they got. They took $200,000 out of our hide on the last event.
Yeah.
So, and again, any money we don't use as part of our sub-millage, they're sweeping back into the operating budget fund anyway, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we already know all that money is there. All they're gonna do is, until we get to the point where we're spending every dollar that the levy produces for veterans, up until that point, there's an awful lot of funds sitting there in the county. They're sweeping back to use for something else we can be using to deliver on this mission.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the fact that, there's a conversation to table this. But in my opinion, I believe we should move forward with a memorandum of understanding and then work on what the budget is, and then go back and say, okay, here we go. This is what we believe the scope of work is, and this is how much money we believe we need in year one.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. So one option then, we could do two options. Number one is to table this until the summer and get further clarification from the budget office on how much money they can support. Option two, I'm inclined to agree with Commissioner Burwinkle, is we take the lead and do the legwork in creating a draft policies and procedures manual for this support program. Present a budget to the budget office and say, is this something that the county is looking to support? Then that way there's clarity for them to make a decision on whether it's a yes or a no. We can do that. If we can take, 60 days to come up with this policy procedures manual, I think team and I can get it together. Yeah.
All right, so that's a subject we'll visit later.
We'll table it and I'll create a draft policy procedures manual for the board to review.
Under new business, since we have new board members, I thought it would be a good idea to refresh our memory of what our mission statement is. So a mission statement has been emailed to you, plus it's in your packet. So I don't think I need to read it to you. You can glance over it yourself. But that is our mission.
Madam President, if I could just read it for the public. It's always been our mission statement, will continue to be that the Veteran Service Commission of Hamilton County serves veterans and their families living within Hamilton County, Ohio, by connecting them with federal, state, and local services and resources, including emergency financial assistance, transportation, and VA claims and benefits.
Has anybody got any questions or comments about our mission statement? Next on our agenda is board meeting rules. This also was emailed out to you in your packet. So I hope everyone had a chance to review it. Does anybody have any questions about it?
Madam President, just a little background. Again, this is for the board's edification. I've drafted these board meeting rules because a couple commissioners have asked if we have those board meeting rules in writing. I've reviewed and at least condensed it into this document, pending any recommended changes. I think it'd be helpful for a formal adoption of these meeting rules.
Yes. So everyone's had a chance to review the board meeting rules. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the board meeting rules.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion?
I have one question on it, and if the oath of office,
I'm sorry.
the oath of office on, the second one for the point, oath of office before entering upon duties of the commission shall take all oath faithfully perform the responsibility of the office. When would it be done? Because everybody's under the commission, and I haven't had an oath. I don't think nobody had an oath. Is that going to
Sign
be
the
adopted?
paperwork. You signed the paperwork,
Right.
report which had the oath on it. So you, whether you
That's not an oath. An oath is when you do this, from my understanding of being in public office.
Well, I
And
see
this
a
is-
lot of counties do that. I've actually seen it where the judge who appoints you gives you your oath. Right.
And Madam President, so I've actually anticipated that question, so I've drafted a model oath of office that I can email out to all of you. It says, I, Commissioner's name, do solemnly swear or affirm to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the state of Ohio, and to faithfully serve as a Commissioner of the Veteran Service Commission of Hamilton County, with integrity, impartiality, and dedication. I will abide by Ohio laws, including the Ohio ethics laws, and ensure transparency, accountability, and fairness in service to the veterans of Hamilton County. So, something to that effect.
That's not it. All right. All right, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay, we're on to the 2025 Executive Director's goals and objectives. And those are also in your folder.
Madam President, I've drafted here 2025 goals and objectives. My goal, first and foremost, is that every year this would be presented by the executive directors of the board at the beginning of the year. Apologies for the delay. We've had a number of things come up. One of them, the important addition of 3 additional commissioners. So even though we're approaching mid-March, I think it's still helpful that this commission understands the goals and objectives that are coming from its leaders. So my intent is to not just lay out these goals and objectives for the board, but then I actually will have subsequent meeting with our management team, and our managers will then get clear understanding the direction that I, as a director, am giving. And then that way they can create their own 2025 goals and objectives for their departments and then relay that to their teams. So just highlighting a few. Number one is just raising the awareness of our commission to the greater Hamilton County Veteran Service community. We're strengthening partnerships. Yes, we're expanding our very successful Appreciation Day event into this summer. I'd like to also see us develop more programs of support with the incredible entities that we have here in the sports arena. We've got major league teams here that if we leverage partnerships with them, it can continue to just broaden our reach because they have captive audiences during their games, many of them veterans. I've also put performance metrics here so that the board is then informed and able to have some criteria to then grade and assess my performance. So I'd like us to, our distribution list right now, thanks to the hard work of our manager, our outreach manager, Amber in Dubuque, has about 4,000 veterans. We have the names, addresses, contact information, email address of about 4,000 veterans. I'd like us to grow that number to 10,000 this year. That would be a little over 20% of the veterans in Hamilton County. And then also here, increasing inbound inquiries by 30%. So the amount of veterans that are actually hitting the contact us button or calling us, whether via our website, just increase that by 30%. So increasing awareness, enhancing service deliverability. A lot of that is the claims work. We now have a great system in VetPro that's allowing us to track the claims work. Our service manager, Kevin, is working remotely post his surgery. When he comes back, he's going to give me an update on how the VetPro system has been working now that we're 2 months or so into that. So I'll be asking for reports from him. Expanding emergency financial assistance. I'd like us to re-examine, again, working very closely with our great financial services manager and Jim Gronefeld, who just came back from a trip visiting Franklin County yesterday, and his counterpart there, and their finance manager and assistant directors, really reassessing our financial assistance program. How can we better assist veterans in Hamilton County by also having, I think, a more streamlined way of delivering that service, whether it's instituting more gift cards, either through Aldi or Kroger instead of direct checks to them. We're definitely improving in our implementation of standards. You know, it's not 6 different ways of approving financial assistance because they went to 6 different service officers. It's one standard, it's one policy. Jim is doing a great job making sure that we adhere to that policy. But if we want to be able to assist more veterans, then the answer is not in changing the way we implement those policies. It's potentially changing our policies. So we're going to have conversations on that. And then just continuing to improve our workforce. So I'd like us to continue to grow our team. We're still looking for, of course, drivers and also this self-sufficiency coordinator. Looking for someone with a social work background. And we had one that was interested, ended up falling through, but we'd like to see someone who's going to be dedicated to following up with our veterans. So pending your questions or comments there, that is goals and objectives for the year.
I think this is excellent, and I'm very happy that you put these together and kind of give us a guideline to know exactly what we should be holding you responsible. Appreciate that. Does anybody have any questions or comments on it?
President, I agree. It's a great document to understand what our executive director is doing, and a great piece to use as we review performance and reward them based on that performance. So thanks for putting it together.
Thanks, sir.
I totally agree, because what gets measured is that. And
Yes.
so we have, our guards, and, this is smart, thank you.
I agree, and growing that base, we need to get that, we need to be more veterans.
That's right.
Hamilton County, they're out there, they're like the low hanging fruit, we just gotta figure out a way to find them. Yeah,
Yep.
you gotta find them. Gotta
Good
find
point.
them.
Good point. Good point.
But I think with the programs that we have in place and the programs that we're gonna add, you know, with all the outreach that we're doing and the additional staff that we're bringing on, I feel like that we're just going to keep growing and serving more veterans, and that's what we're all about.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Right.
All right. So having presented it to the board, I'll mark those goals and objectives as final instead of draft.
Now we're on to Executive Director spending limit review.
Yes, Madam President, it's come to my attention by a couple of the commissioners just on clarity on what the spending limit, if any, is of the executive director to approve at the staff level expenditures versus having to present it for formal board approval. I've done my homework. I've tried to ask other county agencies and also other VSCs. Some VSCs have a dollar limit, a specific dollar limit. And then other VSCs, there is no dollar limit so long as the expenditure falls under the operating budget that was passed by the commission in the prior May. So I think it's just helpful for the organization if there is actual clarity on what the executive director's spending limit is for approval.
Okay, anyone have any thoughts?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'd like to see that, and I understand what he's saying, it'd be $50,000. Cause, when we needed that, copier and that, we had to wait till we met again to get approval, and it's holding up time. So if he had authority to purchase something up to $50,000, he didn't have to wait till the next board meeting or special meeting. I think it's necessary that we give him the authority as our director, even though it's in the budget and everything, that anything that need to be purchased around here up to $50,000, he have the approval of the board. And I'd like to make a motion on it.
A second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to give the executive director the authority to spend up to $50,000 without having to come back to the board because it's already in the budget.
Right.
Okay, I can just speak, if you don't mind, on my personal experience. I sit on the finance committee for the city of Harrison, and our directors and our chiefs, as long as it falls within their budget, okay, they're allowed to spend up to their budget limit without coming back to the board for their approval. Now, if they've exceeded their budget, then they have to come back for additional funds. So it's just you have to be able to do business. You can't wait to if you need something, you can't wait. And it's already money that's already been appropriated and already approved. All right. Is there any other discussion?
Madam President, I'm a little bit concerned with the dollar amount. We have he has unlimited access to the funds without any limits being put on him right now. The limits that we are putting on allows for a fairly major purchase, such as an automobile. I would be a little bit concerned, not that you would, that he might purchase an automobile without having to go to this board to get the board's approval. I'd like to see, since he already has access to 100% of our budget, I'd like to see that limit be lowered to 25,000.
To what now? I'm sorry.
25,000.
You don't want to amend your motion? No, I don't. Okay. he doesn't want to amend his motion,
Okay.
so.
Could I make a comment? Great Parts of Hamilton County, their limit is $50,000. And based on what I've seen, that's pretty typical of a expenditure limit without board approval.
If I could just add, thank you for your comment, Commissioner Watson. So the contractual, any sort of expenditure has to be condensed in writing to a written contract if it exceeds 75,000. That's the county's purchasing policy. Just know that I don't think any sort of director would be doing their job appropriately if they weren't updating the board as to purchases as it goes. So whether there's a dollar threshold or not, just know that I will be updating the board with each major expenditure. I think at the end of the day, that's the obligation that the director has.
Okay, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bullwinkle,
Abstain.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Sanford,
No,
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
No.
and Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. And we're down to the Reds 2025 C8 sponsorship.
Okay, so this is one of those sponsorships. So we actually supported the Reds season last year. I think that was the first year that the BSC has supported the Cincinnati Reds. I've received a proposal again that I present to the board. It is highlighted for you on page 16. It's actually not numbered, so second to last page there. So
Or 14.
14, I'm sorry. So that's what you see here for our pricing is for a total investment of 90,000, we would get for the entire season, first and third baseline banner ad, and then also $20,000 batters iBox, which is that Jumbotron, and then also full advertisement across the concourse for all the military days, military game days. And then they've added additional tickets to be used for veterans that we'd be able to identify and then honor them through tickets for the games. We also have included in this, I've asked that they offer some sort of discounted ticket agreement with veterans that are looking to enjoy the game. So what that looks like is basically it's at the corporate sponsor rate. So what would need to happen is, and I'll work with the outreach team with this, is the veteran would have to come to the commission interested in the game. We then would be able to purchase the tickets at our rate, and then they reimburse. But that is offered there because that way we can offer them discounted tickets throughout the entire season, not just at these military game days.
So what is the percentage?
I think it's different depending on the game, depending on who they're playing. So Amber's got the rate card, if you will. It fluctuates between 12 to 20%.
As well as a sellout or not.
Right.
Over here.
How many military days are there?
There's 3, sir.
What's the date on that? Do you have the dates on that?
Don't have. I don't have the date.
Oh, we can get the date. Okay.
Yes. So asking for voter approval for this.
Right.
So,
I'll entertain a motion to do the Reds package for 90,000.
I'll make a motion. if we accept for the Reds package.
Second, we have a motion and a second to do the Reds outreach program, or advertising, however you want to say it. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Commissioner Burwin-Cole, Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yeah.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. Okay, motion carried. All right. We're down to commissioners, updates. Anyone have anything they'd like to say?
Yeah, I do.
Go ahead.
Director, you think it's a wise use of office time and staff to investigate another commissioner?
I don't understand your question.
Did you not direct somebody from this staff to call the state and vets?
Nope.
You did not. So when they identified themselves from the VSC, so you don't know who that was?
I don't know what you're talking about, Commissioner.
Okay. I will get the name and then you can direct it at that point.
You could direct that to the president of the board.
I'll give it to you because you're the one who handles internal discipline, correct? Isn't that what we directed?
Through the president of the board. Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right, anyone else? I would like to take this, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have we resolved the initial issue at the January meeting regarding two commissioners who were supposed to be investigated to determine whether or not they're qualified to sit on the board? Have we resolved that issue yet? So that would be Commissioner Parks and Commissioner Burwin.
No, and the director was actually, but I'm just telling you, based on his email, the county prosecutor stated that the person he was in contact with should ask for an opinion. And that was never brought to the board's attention.
Well, that's
Just let it
really what
sit.
I'm asking for. Have we gotten a response?
I have not gotten a response.
We never asked for a vote, so they can't act.
Are we presently waiting to hear from the county prosecutor on the status of Commissioner Parks and Commissioner Burwin?
To my knowledge, I haven't heard anything back.
Well, he's still abstaining on financial vote.
Because he has to abstain because he's on another board who receives money from the county.
So what is he on this board
the issue.
for?
I'm sorry?
What is he on this board for then? If he's not able to do that, he provides no added value for veterans because he cannot, 99% of what we do is handle finances.
Well,
for
first of
veterans.
all, it's not our decision.
Mhm.
These three people were appointed by the Hamilton County Commissioners. If you have an issue with that, I suggest you take it up with them.
But we've also been brought up before, and Director Sanz has been notified that in order for the county prosecutor to render an opinion, we have to ask for it, which means we have to vote.
I thought we did that in.
No, we never voted. You guys turned my vote down. I asked.
Hold on a second. May I direct a question to the county prosecutor? Is there any pending investigation as to determine whether or not those two commissioners are allowed to sit on our board?
Not that I'm aware of it. I'm aware that there have been discussions, but I don't believe personally am not involved in an investigation or writing of an opinion, and I'm not aware of any of my colleagues working on that.
I'm uncomfortable with the fact that Commissioner Burwinkle is not allowed to vote on financial issues. That's number one. Number two is, I'm uncomfortable with the fact that we don't have a status on Commissioner Park. They're part of our board, and they should be entitled to all of the privileges that all the other 6 commissioners have.
She does. She votes every time she's voted on every issue here.
The status is what I'm asking you.
I don't have any control over that status. That is up to the Hamilton County Commissioners. They're the ones who appointed these people. If anyone has an issue with that, you need to take it up with the commissioners. We cannot remove these people. We cannot remove these people.
I didn't ask that we remove.
I'm just saying, if you have a phone
My
call,
question is about the status.
and you need to take it up with the Hamilton County Commissioners. Excuse me.
There really is no question. There's no question. Yeah, we have been appointed. Mr. Stanford had a.
So are you still an acting city council person?
And so, well, I mean, we don't have to get it answered just because he asked.
I mean, I can ask you, are you still a city council member? Yes or no?
So let's proceed, maybe.
No, I mean, it's the free time for us to talk. So I mean, if I'm allowed to talk, are you still a member of city council for the city of Cincinnati? Even though your charter says you cannot serve on another board or appointed
So
position.
I don't have time.
Yes.
But man, we don't like the law.
Excuse me. I've
Madam
already
President.
told you what you need to do if you have an issue. Now, if someone had an issue with me being on this board, I have given the prosecutor's office a letter from the Harrison's attorney.
Right.
The city of Harrison has absolutely no issue with me being on this board.
Even though it's in your city charter as well.
Even though he says that's not referring to this.
Really? Because it's
You know what?
specifically state. I mean, hey,
I
you
have a
guys.
letter. and
Oh,
that's
that's
the
great. You
end
have a
of it.
letter from a
You're
guy.
out of order.
You guys have a letter
You're
from
out
a
of
guy.
order. You're out of order.
Nobody cares about the law
You
here,
are.
do they?
Do care about
Really?
the law. He's an attorney. He gave his opinion. And if you have
So
an
how do you
issue with
negate
that,
an entire section in your city ordinance? You just because a lawyer says it's okay?
he's our attorney.
So it's okay because some guy said it was, even though it's stated
He's
right.
the city attorney,
Mhm.
Mr. Stanford. What part of it don't you understand?
It is
While you're on the
shameful.
border.
It is so shameful.
We're moving on.
Thank you guys.
I have no further updates.
Thank you.
Okay.
I want to know.
Madam President.
I wanna know if it's against, excuse me, I want to know if it's against the sunshine law to be texting on the phone while you're in a meeting. That's all he's done during this whole meeting is text. And I've asked this ruling before. Hold on, excuse me, I'm speaking,
It's not
you're
You
not.
know what the sunshine law is, man? That's for open meetings.
You're not allowed to text during a meeting.
Where does it say that in the law?
It is in the law.
Really?
Thank you, yes.
Okay, let me see it.
You just asked for it to be shown.
But I wasn't texting, like text message.
You know, what are you doing on your phone, Stephen?
Whatever I want. You guys want to make a mockery of this? Why can't I?
Well, you are.
You're one making the.
Well, you guys make a mockery of it because I bring facts and you guys don't give a shit. So what?
You're so full of yourself, it's unbelievable. You just need to leave.
This down.
I get the deputy, you need to leave.
Oh, let's try that one.
Yeah, right, well, let's try that one.
How well that worked out.
Yeah, right. You're out of order, Stephen.
Well, stay. It's more fun this way.
We're done with this meeting.
Okay. Your call, Madam
A
President.
motion to adjourn.
So we're not gonna help the veterans this month by reviewing the
Oh,
plan?
so we have to do the
Our
financial.
primary job.
You know what? Can't you just be quiet for 5 minutes?
Yeah, don't go with it. Go keep the meeting going.
Yes, okay.
To keep it going.
Richard? Thank you. We'll now entertain a motion to go into the executive session.
Wait, motion to go into that.
Second.
Or.
All in favor, say aye.
This will be a roll call vote. This will be a roll call.
Not an executive session, I thought we did.
Madam
We do, I'm
President,
sorry.
Madam
Roll call.
President, if I might, before we vote.
Yeah.
Could the particulars of the executive session please be identified, gentlemen?
Provide emergency financial assistance application for the period of 2/1/25 through 2/28/25 in pursuit of the ordinance ORC 121.220 and 5901.09C.
Commissioner Blumenthal? Commissioner Hedges?
Yes.
Commissioner Park? Mr. Rowland? Anderson?
Yeah.
Mr. Ware?
Yes.
Watson? Mr. Wilson?
Yes. We're in executive session. All right. We'll now entertain a motion to accept the financial reports.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Burwell?
Aye.
Commissioner Headland?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Walden?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford?
Yeah.
Commissioner Ware?
Yeah.
Commissioner Watson? Commissioner Wilson?
Yes. Is there any other business to come before the meeting today? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. A motion to accept the financial reports.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Burwell?
Aye.
Commissioner Headland?
Yes.
Commissioner Parks?
Yes.
Commissioner Walden?
Yes.
Commissioner Stanford?
Yeah.
Commissioner Ware?
Yeah.
Commissioner Watson? Commissioner Wilson?
Yes. Is there any other business to come before the meeting today? Not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.